Okay, let's do this. Hi, my name is Brandy Nicole, and today I'm really excited because I'm going to be bringing you behind the scenes of the creative ideation and execution of one of my latest self-portraits. I love taking self-portraits because it is such a freeing creative outlet for me as an artist and as a photographer to just test new ideas with props, lighting, and building images that have stories. Today I'm going to walk you through an idea I had earlier this week that is a super fun, easy, and out-of-the-box self-portrait idea, and I hope that this video gives you a little inspiration or motivation to do something creative of your own. So I'm really grateful for my dear friend and neighbor, Felix Kuntz, for passing down these apple crates to me because they have become super handy for me to organize some of my art supplies. But the deep brown color of them just doesn't spark as much joy as a matte white would, so I decided I'm gonna need to paint them. How my brain works when I make a decision like this is, how can I kill two birds with one stone and paint these boxes and also accomplish another goal of mine? And this case, it was to take a self-portrait and a YouTube video and go through my entire self-portrait process. One other thing I wanted to know is I like to actually shoot with only a very general idea of the story or the prop or where I'm going with the shoot. Oftentimes if I overthink a shoot, it'll actually not happen because I'll get really in my head and overthink and it will just never end. Not to mention, I usually end the shoot feeling a little bit of disappointment if I'm not able to get that idea completely perfect. So I like to start with a general idea and just see where my creativity takes me in the studio. I'll start setting up my background and my lights to complement the mood I'm going for. Again, not overthinking, I'm just starting somewhere basic, and I'll bring in all the other tools I'll need to capture my self-portraits. For the most part, I'll be using my camera, flash trigger, a tripod, mirror, my computer and tether cord, and a remote. Having painted a few of these crates by now, I know that the contrast between the paint and the wood stain is so satisfying to compare side by side, especially mid-brush stroke. So I wanted to take this idea of contrast and makeover and kind of apply that into a self-portrait image that also lives inside my whimsical world of art that I love to create from. So what you're seeing now is me actually figuring out how I want to photograph this concept in real time. The very first step after setting up everything is opening Capture One and starting a new session. A quick note, these beautiful photos on my desktop are not mine, but are from many artists I admire. So I'll hit go, head on over to the camera icon, plug in my camera to my computer with a tether cord, and I'm ready to go. This shoot is actually a classic example of how I often jump in with an idea, but as I go, that idea slowly morphs into something else. I knew when setting up I wanted to achieve a simple photo of me painting over myself and onto the box, but once I achieved that photo and reviewed it in Capture One, I just felt it was too simple and wanted to challenge myself to change it up. So here I am trying to change it up, and I am actually way in my head and really frustrated at this point. So I actually had to take a break and order Thai food and really just sit and look at the set and just reassess and try to get my creative wheels going on how I can change it up. So ultimately, I decided I needed to change up my set and try something new with lighting too. I added a little light without a modifier pointed directly behind me and towards the camera, and sort of added a flary and magical glowing feeling to the image. I also taped up some plastic drop cloth to use as a new texture to the background. I scattered my paint supplies everywhere and really tried to channel a new direction, and it completely transformed and evolved my photo shoot to the next level. I firmly believe that taking this time to explore new possibilities with light, setting, props, etc. has really been one of the key factors in my growth as a photographer. I truly can't recommend it enough to get out there and get creative and push yourself as often as possible to try these new things, whether you're taking self-portraits or you're lucky enough to have a model step in. Also, I found it to be so great to tether your camera to a computer while you shoot so you can really see what you're getting and keep an eye on the details that can be improved. Other than making sure things are in focus and the lighting and is flattering to the image, I'm also constantly looking for beautiful ways to include lines, balance, movement, and feeling into my photos. The sort of dopamine rush I get when I have a new idea on how I can make an image even better is just my favorite feeling ever, and it usually keeps me awake and energized to keep experimenting until frequently 5 a.m. And it was right about this time when I finally found my favorite and final iteration of this sort of whimsical painting character and a beautifully
silhouetted portrait. So I ended my photo shoot, got some sleep, and I'm still only halfway through this process. And then it's time to cull and edit my favorite images in Capture One and Photoshop. Luckily for me, editing is part of the process I really enjoy because that's when the photo can really come to life. I love to manipulate colors and exaggerate details to make things look very dreamlike and whimsical. This particular photo didn't need much, but I did adjust it slightly to suit the colors and tones that my eyes are drawn to. So if you're curious on an in-depth breakdown of how I edit my photos, I do have a whole series of live streams that goes over my step-by-step process and the specifics of each tool that I use in programs like Capture One and Photoshop. So be sure to check those out.
And that is pretty much my entire process. I know it may not be for everybody, but for me, it is a whole lot of fun to sort of lean into the uncertainty and see where your idea can grow in the studio. I hope this breakdown of how I approach a self-portrait can help you get started creating something of your own. A quick note, I have a wonderful community of creators of all kinds over in Facebook groups. It's called Exploring Creativity with Brandy Nicole, and I really encourage all sorts of creators to join, not just photographers. We have painters and poets and all sorts of other creatives. Reminder to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you guys next time.